For your formal critical analysis, this is part 2 of the assignment that we started last month. That was your formal critical analysis graphic organizer. You're just going to be putting it into its final format. Please make sure that you are checking the calendars on Google Classroom, as well as the physical calendar in class, because these due dates that are present here may not be the same as the due dates for your course. The success criteria. For this project, you need to use Railway 10. Previously, in the graphic organizer, I set up those default fonts to be Railway 10. If you changed the font, that will be a problem, and you will need to make sure that you are editing that font back to Railway 10. So if you're copying and pasting, make sure that that font is still Railway 10. You still need to use complete sentences and paragraphs, and you are going to use the information from that graphic organizer. The idea is that you will be able to lift sections out of that graphic organizer and plop it into this slide deck. Each slide is different, so make sure that you're following those directions. The directions are on each slide. This needs to be submitted to Turnitin.com and Google Classroom. Turnitin.com is going to check for our plagiarism, and the Google Classroom is where I will provide you feedback. As a reminder, AI is not allowed to be used on this assignment. You need to have 2 sources in MLA format, and I've got a MLA formatter at the end of this for the information that you are including. You have to use this slide deck in your comparative analysis. Do not create a new slide deck. Just use what I have given you. And you should not be cropping or changing the formatting or pictures in this deck. So for the first slide, with the formal critical analysis of Flaming June, on this slide, you are just really focusing your attention on 5 of the elements. Elements only, so line, shape, form, value, color, texture, or space. Okay? Pick your 5 favorite. It does not matter which 5. Okay? The 5 that you feel are the strongest from your graphic organizer. Make sure that everything looks cohesive, paragraphs flowing nicely. I don't want to see a giant wall of text. Paragraph returns. Okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to find those elements of art in your sentences, and you are going to bold them. So in that first sentence of the example, in Henri Matisse's Madame Matisse, the concept of implied texture is immediately evident. Texture is bolded because that is one of the elements of art. The other thing you are going to need to do for me is in the lower left corner, you are going to need to find some bibliography information. This piece, I need you to tell me when was it created. I need a date. I need you to tell me the size, and you can do that either in centimeters or inches. What is the medium? So what is this painting actually made of? Okay? And where this piece is currently located. That is the information that you are going to need to make sure that you are citing at the end of this deck. On this slide, what you are going to do is you are going to focus on the principles of design. And the idea here is that you are relating those principles of design to the elements of art. Each one of these little boxes should have different principles of design that you are talking about. You can see that in my example, I have still highlighted, or bolded the elements of art and principles of design. Okay, so if you're talking about unity, one of these boxes should be all of your information about unity. That information about unity should be related to the elements of art. So if you aren't mentioning elements of art in your section on unity, because that's what you chose to put in here, that's going to be a problem. You need to make sure that you're talking about why does this piece look unified. I should see some sort of information about line, shape, form, value, color, space, or texture. It shouldn't just say, this piece looks unified, right? It needs to be related to an element of art. And again, you get to pick the 5 principles of design. It does not matter which ones you choose, they just should be your 5 strongest, especially the 5 that you feel are most related to the elements of art. The last slide here is the works cited. This is where you are pulling or telling me where you pulled that information about the painting. I do have a citation machine. You can click on it. It'll take you to a citation thing you can put in your information and it'll poop out an MLA citation for you. The only thing you have to make sure you do is that when you are putting those citations into this slide, that they are in alphabetical order. That is part of MLA citation. They have to be in alphabetical order. If you have any questions, please just make sure you ask me in class for clarification.